Don in London. Hello. November 26th. My video is all about recovery from addiction to either substance or behaviour. My addictive substance was alcohol. My behaviour could be equally addictive towards people, places and things. Fastening myself to anything, and sometimes when we fasten ourselves to anything, including drink, we become not only a prisoner of what it is we try to control, we're also the jailer as well. So we are imprisoned often by our own desires and wants. So what's changed in me from my drinking days to being sober one day at a time? Well, needs met, wants forgotten. When I cover my needs, the basic needs of living, then the wants are forgotten, and I know I can be as bad as anybody else in looking for the next fix, looking for the next part of me to be fixed by people, places, things, or even a drug, or even alcohol. So sobriety is a one day at a time process for me, or a way of living, to meet my basic needs, and that's in terms of emotional, spiritual and physical well-being, the best I can be. Not striving always to be perfect, which was always the way I seemed to actually try and live my life. I'm trying to be perfect so that you would love me. And I know now that the simple way to live is emotional, spiritual and physical well-being, and let things happen, let the world in, see reality as it is. So emotional, I do ask myself, how am I feeling, why, and what can I do? And this morning I've been feeling quite tired. Late night, exciting days cause quite exciting tiredness. So I need to look after myself and do what I need to do today. And spiritual, what is spiritual? Well, the ability to cope. I was talking to somebody last night and we both agreed that spiritual is being able to see reality as it is and cope with it and live in it, live in reality. And physically, as best we can be, look after myself, and if I don't feel too well, take time out. We can't take time out at the end because there's nothing left, so we need to take time out along the way. So in other words, a self-recovery program with the help of a lot of people, in my case, and out of the addiction into recovery, out of the problem into the solution. And what helps me most these days so that my life can work is the fellowship of AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, and I'm an absolute fan, and I share about how it helps me on a daily basis. I don't speak for the fellowship of AA. Alcoholics Anonymous is full of unique, authentic people who speak for themselves where they will. And that's most important. Each voice in AA is as powerful and is equal to the next voice we hear. So although you only hear my point of view, if you like, here, the only way to experience AA is to be a part of it if you are in addiction and want a solution. And AA isn't the only way. There are many ways to be sober. It's the quality of life that you want to experience or need to experience which is important. And without a drink, in my case, the rest of life can happen. So I lean on fellowship, I lean on the many voices of fellowship in order for my life to work today. So what is AA? I've got a little card here which has the AA preamble shared at every meeting, and it goes like this. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution, does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. And the whole point of the fellowship of AA is that it is equal in terms of the contribution that everybody makes. Everybody contributes in fellowship in some way or other, either by just sitting on a seat in a meeting or to any other extent that is possible on a daily basis. So we're all equal, no voice more powerful than another. And that's part of what AA is, spiritual and emotional. spiritual equality and emotional sobriety. So why I do these videos is to share some of what AA can be, and the only way to really experience AA is to go to it if you have a drinking problem and see what it may be able to do for you. And if it doesn't work, there are plenty of other ways to try and get sober. So I share from this book daily reflections and 1 page a day, 12 months, 12 steps of action for an individual to improve their sobriety, and 12 traditions which hold the fellowship together. So 1 step, 1 tradition per month, and step 11 is all covered in November to an extent, and so is the tradition. And today it is about the tradition, and it talks about the hazards of publicity, and this is all about motive in living. People who symbolise causes and ideas fill a deep human need, and it can be the human need in oneself. We of AA do not question that, but we do have to soberly face the fact that being in the public eye is hazardous, especially for us, and that is, are we trying to gain something by our association with AA? As a recovered alcoholic, or in my case, recovering 1 day at a time, I must make an effort to put into practice the principles of the AA program, and it says principles, not rules, which are founded on honesty, truth and humility. So looking for the truth of now as it is, not my opinion. And humility, which is all about learning more on a daily basis about how life is and how we fit in with what is going on in the world. While I was drinking, I was constantly trying to be in the limelight. Not really. But I did want to find my place in the world and have value, and probably overvalued myself. Or rather, overvalued my contribution over others' contributions. And now these days I see it as equal. I don't have this hierarchy thing going on in me. Now that I'm conscious of my mistakes and my former lack of integrity, it would not be honest to seek prestige, even for the justifiable purpose of promoting the AA message of recovery. And this is why attraction is better than promotion. So attraction, when it comes to AA, is what you see is what you get in meetings, not what you hear from me, although I'm just sharing what I've got from it. And promotion for me means suggesting that there is a way to fix oneself. And there are no fixes in life as such. We can't fix something that we're living. We're in a constant state of repair or learning, something like that. Is the publicity that centres around the AA fellowship and the miracles it produces not worth much more? Why not let people around us appreciate by themselves the changes that AA has brought in us? For that would be far better recommendation for the fellowship than any I could make. And the problem for me, in this great big world where 1 in 13, in the UK for example, 1 in 13 of the adult population is drink dependent, how do we share a message of experience, strength and hope to offer the greatest opportunity to the greatest number? Well, there are many ways, and as long as we stick to a principle, which is attraction, what you see is what you get, rather than promotion, guaranteeing you something which cannot be guaranteed. Because if you could stop drinking, or I could have stopped drinking, I would have done it on my own, through self-will. But what I found with drink and addiction is self-harm, self-will run riot, and self-obsession. So these days, with a bit of luck and regular attendance at meetings of AA, attraction is why I keep coming back to it, rather than promoting an idea of being fixed. And when life is good or bad or up and down and I'm just not sure, the serenity prayer to God or good conscience helps me in the moment of now. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference is for me just for today. Don in London, hello. It's the 26th of November 2009. Nearly forgot the date then. My video is all about recovery from addiction to either substance or behaviour, and my addictive substance was alcohol. Still would be if I went out there and had another go, but I'm on a daily reprieve at the moment and have been for some while, and life is improving and I'm making progress, just making simple progress one day at a time, to find out who I am on a daily basis and not be too concerned about the far distant future, just keep it in the day. So alcohol, my addictive substance, my behaviour, workaholic, relationshipaholic, anything to fill that fearful gap inside me, the emptiness, the loneliness. And I didn't even know I was empty or lonely for many years, simply because I was striving to be perfect in whatever environment I was in, be it social, intimate, or work. And I guess in that respect probably a people pleaser, so that you would accept me for who I was. But I didn't know who I was because of that empty gap inside. So fear driven and ego driven to an extent, although ego only covers up the gap, and when we crack the ego there's probably nothing much inside to hold us up. So definitely lacking in courage, faith and confidence and self-awareness to a large extent. If I had asked myself, am I doing what I want to do with my life, which I never did, I wonder what I would have said to myself. I don't need to answer that because I can't, not now. But these days I have a clue that it's okay to love people, be loved back and do something useful on a daily basis, and then life seems to work. So what kept me alive long enough in those 35 years of drinking? I guess self-will, self-obsession, but underpinning that was love from family, love from people, and women in my life and friends in my life who could see there was something not quite right about me, but at the same time they loved me even though they didn't like my behaviour. So it probably kept me a single person for a lot of those years, interspersed with great love affairs, and that was good too. And I cherish those moments. We need cherish always. So what keeps me sober today? Well, family, friends, society, professionals, and a fellowship called AA, Alcoholics Anonymous. And I share about AA here because it's my experience, strength and hope of living soberly, and it helps me, the fellowship, keep in the day, living it and experiencing it and learning a little bit more wisdom as I go along. So the AA statement of intent, which I share here, or the AA preamble as it's called in meetings, shared at every meeting I know, goes like this. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution, does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. So the fellowship very focused on the membership, a desire to stop drinking, that's the fellows in the AA program, and carry the message to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. And those are the keys for me. And the whole program is about being open, honest and willing to change our attitude and behaviour. And there are 12 steps of action for the individual to change attitude and behaviour. And these 12 steps, once we understand them, we can put them into practice and live them. They all work in one day. If they work tomorrow, they're no use to us. If they work today, they're fantastic. And if we look back after a little while of being in the fellowship, we see how we didn't know what the 12 steps could do for us, but now we do. And it's a living program, it's a living process, which gives us back our freedom of choice in the moment of now. And what a gift that is. And in this book, Daily Reflections, I share here because it covers the 12 steps and 12 traditions. And November is all about the 11th step, prayer meditation, and it's also about the 11th tradition, which reads, Our public relations policy is based on attraction rather than promotion. We need to always maintain personal anonymity at the level of press, radio and films. And for me that can be quite contentious, and I guess for others who hear or see my videos. And that's perfectly okay. We all have our own point of view. And as Bill Wilson, one of the co-founders, said, it's all a matter of personal integrity. But he says that in the book, this one, and it's important that I face up to it squarely. It says, November 26th, the hazards of publicity. People who symbolise causes and ideas fill a deep human need. We of AA do not question that, but we do have to soberly face the fact that being in the public eye is hazardous, especially for us, on a personal level, and could be for the fellowship too. As a recovered alcoholic, and I call myself a recovering alcoholic, I must make an effort to put into practice the principles of the AA program, which are founded on honesty, truth and humility. So for me, honesty, truth and humility say that I am a human being simply making progress, and I'm sober today, so I'm only sober for one day, and tomorrow, you know what, I could relapse. It could happen to me. It goes on to say, whilst I was drinking, I was constantly trying to be in the limelight. Now that I am conscious of my mistakes and of my former lack of integrity, it would not be honest to seek prestige even for the justifiable purpose of promoting the AA message of recovery. Yes, is the publicity that centres around the AA fellowship and the miracles it produces not worth much more? Why not let people around us appreciate by themselves the changes that AA has brought in us, and for that will be a far better recommendation for the fellowship than any I could make. And for me, you know, there are miracles, however we want to describe them. There are miracles in each and every person who makes a day sober, who is an addict, an alcoholic with a disease and an illness which can kill them. And when it talks about the limelight, well, I never sought it particularly, and I don't particularly seek limelight here. What I'm trying to share is experience, strength and hope, and be open, honest about what the program can and cannot do. So it allows me to make progress. But I am a person with a disease, and I know that if I'm not vigilant, I can go back to relapse, or by accident find myself in relapse, by my own carelessness or by carelessness of others about me and my condition. So for me it's important that I recognise anonymity, and I do, and it is the sanctuary for me to find my truth. So if I find my truth, I find my spiritual path. Now everybody has their own understanding of anonymity and how it helps them, and many people do not share their affiliation or fellowship with AA, which is perfectly okay. At the same time, if I were to go out there and people ask me, why is it you've changed so dramatically these last few years? And I said, it's all down to me, or I don't know. I think I would actually feel like I was being dishonest and not open and not valuing integrity too much. So I choose my path very carefully. So I'm not a perfect example, by no means. I'm just merely making progress, and that is the gift of the whole program. So, in as Bill sees it today, I don't know that I've got time for it. It says when the infancy is over. I'll just say the last bit here. No, the first bit. You must remember that every group, this is page 269, you must remember that every group starts, as it should, through the efforts of a single man and his friends, a founder and his hierarchy. There is no other way. But when infancy is over, the original leaders always have to make way for that democracy which springs up through the grassroots, and will eventually sweep aside the self-chosen leadership of the past. And that fits in very nicely with what I was saying. So to acceptance of how today is, the serenity prayer to the God of your understanding, or to good conscience, or to a higher power which works for you. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference is always and simply, for me, just for today.